Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so I recently stumbled across a story that honestly completely stopped me in my tracks, and it really made me rethink my own relationship with anxiety and past regrets. Let's be real, we've all been there, right? Trapped in our own minds, just spiraling over things we literally cannot change. But what if the secret to finding peace wasn't about fighting those negative thoughts, but just understanding how heavy they actually are? So let's unpack this ancient Zen parable because it captures the absolute mechanics of overthinking perfectly.
Okay, let's dive into this, because wow, this is a pain pretty much all of us can relate to. Think about a time when someone said something just a little bit slighting to you, or maybe you made a really small mistake at work. Instead of just brushing it off and moving on, your brain locked onto it. You played it on a loop, again and again and again. It ruined your afternoon, it ruined your evening, maybe it ruined your entire week. It feels totally chaotic, doesn't it? You're basically trapped by your own memory, dwelling on this negative experience long after it physically ended. And well, that is the exact trap the protagonist of our story found himself in.
Our source material introduces us to this young village boy, and man, he was absolutely paralyzed by chronic overthinking. If someone said something even slightly hurtful, or if the tiniest thing went wrong, he would just obsess over that single event all day long. And the symptoms were severe. I mean, he was constantly blaming his luck, cursing his fate, and just sitting around plotting these elaborate, imaginary revenges against people who had wronged him. He was literally building castles of resentment in his mind. Because of all this endless mental turmoil, his personal relationships were completely falling apart, and he was completely incapable of focusing on the present moment or just getting his work done. He was living in this exhausting state of constant agitation. Seeing him spiraling like this, a friend finally advised him to go seek out a wise Zen master who lived at a nearby monastery.
So, the desperate young boy travels to the monastery. He finds the Zen master and just pours his heart out. He's talking rapidly, frantically explaining how he's tormented by his inability to let go of old memories, and how he just overthinks every single little slight. Now, I want you to just picture this scene. The boy finishes his frantic venting, the Zen master listens, says absolutely nothing, gets up, and simply walks inside the monastery. The boy is incredibly confused, as you would be, but he waits. A few moments later, the master comes back. But he isn't holding a scroll of ancient wisdom, and he doesn't have some magical herbal remedy. He's just holding a clay glass filled with water. He walks right up to the boy, stands directly in front of him, and asks one very simple question. "Tell me, how much does this glass weigh?" The boy, feeling a bit puzzled, says, "Well, I can't tell you the exact weight, but it's very light."
The master nods, but then his expression gets incredibly serious. He asks the boy, "Okay, what would happen if I hold this glass just like this for a few minutes?" The boy's like, "Nothing." Then the master asks, "Right, but what if I hold it exactly like this for an hour?" The boy says, "Well, your arm will start to ache." Now, what's really interesting about this is how the stakes escalate. The master asks one final question. "What if I hold this glass exactly like this for the entire day?" The boy, finally realizing the gravity of what's happening, answers in a serious tone. "You'll experience severe, terrible pain. Your arm will go totally numb, your muscles will be under immense stress, and your arm, it might even become paralyzed." And here is the absolute kicker. The master just smiles and says, "Very good. But during all of this time, did the weight of the glass change?" The boy answers, "No, the weight didn't increase at all." And that part really struck me. The physical weight of the glass remained exactly the same from minute 1 to hour 24. So the master asks, "Then why did the pain in the arm and the tension in the muscles happen?" The boy replies, "Because you held on to it for too long." The master looks the boy dead in the eye and asks, "So, to get rid of this pain, what should I do?" And the boy gives the most beautifully obvious, simple, and profound answer. "Put the glass down." The master replies, "Exactly. I mean, it's the ultimate physical solution to an aching arm, for sure, but it is also the ultimate spiritual solution to an aching mind." And this brilliantly illustrates the entire point of our explainer today. The Zen master tells the boy that life's problems, our past mistakes, our daily grievances, they're exactly like that clay glass of water. If you hold on to them in your mind for a few minutes, hey, everything is fine. We're human, right? It's totally normal to process things. But if you think about them for a long time, they begin to cause you actual, real pain. And if you hold on to them in your mind for days or weeks or even years, they will literally bring you to a state of mental paralysis. You'll be completely unable to function or do anything else. The pain doesn't come from the problem itself. It comes entirely from the duration you choose to hold on to it. So the master breaks it down into a super clear, actionable procedure for the boy and, honestly, for all of us, to forge a better today.
He points directly at the boy and explains that yes, it's natural to think about past mistakes, but what is absolutely crucial is learning from them and then moving forward. First step, you have to stop dwelling on the past. If you just sit around regretting yesterday, today is slipping right through your fingers, which basically guarantees you're just going to have more to regret tomorrow. Second, extract the lesson. Figure out what kind of person you want to be based on those mistakes, and start being that person right now. And third, focus entirely on today's actions. Just ensure you don't repeat the mistakes that caused you pain in the first place.
The source material really drives this home with this incredibly intense, powerful proverb: worry takes a person to their pyre. Talk about a stark reminder of the ultimate destructive cost of unchecked anxiety. When we refuse to put our glass down, the stress doesn't just put us in a bad mood. It actually degrades our physical health, it ruins our relationships, and it literally chips away at our lifespan. It consumes us from the inside out. Now, to put this into a modern perspective, it's fascinating how this ancient wisdom aligns so perfectly with modern psychology. In fact, over 10 million people, let that sink in, more than 10 million people have actively sought out ways to put their own glass down by reading Dale Carnegie's incredibly famous book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. The source material highly recommends this as basically the perfect companion piece to the Zen master's advice. It's just packed with practical ways to break that toxic habit of chronic worrying so you can actually start enjoying your life.
And the source material makes a really good point about how accessible this kind of knowledge is today. You don't even have to find the time to sit down with a physical book. The author notes they actually used India's largest audio platform, Kuku FM, to listen to this exact book in Hindi. They even shared a pretty sweet resource for it. The first 250 users can use the code 220 to get an annual subscription for just 99 rupees instead of the usual 399 rupees. It's just a really interesting, modern tool mentioned in the source for helping you retrain your mind to finally let go of that heavy glass.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with one final thing to chew on. Take a hard look at your own life, your own thoughts, and your own resentments right now. What glass are you holding on to today? Is there a past mistake, a grudge, or maybe a fear that is completely paralyzing your present? Remember, the actual weight of it hasn't changed, but your arm is getting really tired. It's time to put the glass down. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I really hope this helps you find a bit more peace in your present moment. Catch you next time.